Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're talking about the very basics of the preparedness, and I do mean the bare minimum. The reason I'm bringing out this video to you because I'm frankly fed up of seeing tons and tons of articles online coming out to telling people to stock up on certain things that are frankly not very relevant, quite a lot out of date, and we can do so much better. Of course those articles are coming up because of the government preparedness website plus the escalation of the conflict. It is totally understandable. But when I do see people talking about the preparedness or advising people to stock up certain things that have no relevance, or in fact we can do that much better, it does really irritate me. So this is the reason I'm bringing out this video to you. Second reason as well is because I know a lot of you guys who are starting your preparedness journey, when you do look through the massive list of the things that generally preppers suggest that you buy, it is really overwhelming, and could be really expensive. So I'm kind of selected the very basics of things that you should concentrate on without sort of things that you potentially need but you could really do without. So I'm going to kick off with the batteries. Okay, there was an article the other day telling us to stockpile batteries, and I'm like, why? Are we stockpiling batteries for 1980s where everything ran on batteries? There isn't. I don't remember last time I've changed the battery. Maybe my kitchen scales have battery. I don't remember last time I've changed that. But generally, all the equipment, or majority of the equipment we're running now, it is rechargeable. And you know, with the batteries, they don't have a really long shelf life. They need to be kept in a specific environment. They do go out of date, they do lose their power, and they also leak. So the last thing you want is to rely on some batteries that you pay quite a lot of money for, that you put in your, cupboard, forget about, and then when you come to use them, chances are they're no longer working. So please, just maybe consider not to, and just invest yourself money into a decent torch, because generally, this is what I assume that people will be putting the batteries in, is some torches or maybe the radios, which we'll come back to in a minute. So you can pick up, okay, torches and lanterns, rechargeable, very cheaply, okay? So for example, for your inside house, if you want some power, okay, rather than a torch, you can have a rechargeable torch, you can have solar torches, but little lanterns like this, and I've demonstrated many of them. You can pick them up from like Lidl and Aldi for like $4.99, $5.99. They recharge really quickly. They don't actually even need the sunlight. You can just leave them on the windowsill and it's done, and it will last you for good 12 hours, if not longer. So unless there's specific equipment that you rely on that requires batteries, to me this is really outdated advice. So number two, we're talking about the candles. Tons and tons. I've seen, again, specific articles. We've been taught to stockpile candles. Why? Why do we need to stockpile candles? Are we preparing for the romantic dinner where you're going to have candles all around? I understand, right? As a long-term prepper myself, I do have candles because I do have specific uses for them in absolutely extreme emergencies. Generally, your preparedness kit, it's not really going to be catering for the emergencies that I potentially have my kit for. So candles, okay, that could be dangerous. Okay, this is the whole thing. A lot of carbon monoxide poisoning, and of course they cause fire because people are just careless. As I said, if you always have candles, or if I encourage you to have candles, I always say you have to have them in a specific enclosed, like a glass lantern. Again, this doesn't have to be your priority. Candles is only there for the light. They don't really emit that much light, and they could be quite pricey. So again, consider investing in one of those. That gives you plenty of light. You only need one. This thing will illuminate a small bedroom without problem whatsoever, and you don't have to worry about stockpiling candles and lighters to use them. Next thing, again, there's a lot of the things talking about buying yourself like emergency radios. I'm guilty. I have two of these radios, yes, both rechargeable. But the point is, okay, in a lot of emergencies, potentially AM/FM would not be transmitting anyway. And again, as experienced prepper, I do have them, but purely for an emergency point of view. But at the same time, if you are just starting your preparedness, I don't think you really need to be spending 30, 40, 50 pounds on the emergency radio. First of all, if you have a mobile phone, you do have emergency alerts there. This is if they're switched on. If they're not switched on, then you wouldn't be interested in what's happening anyway. So what's the point of getting yourself a little radio? So if you do feel that you want to have one of them, do select one that it is also a rechargeable one, but I wouldn't make it your number one priority. Another thing, again, you see a lot, and I do the same as well, is they're talking about the alternative cooking methods. Again, all right, guys, if you're a long-term prepper or if you're preparing for the longer scenarios, absolutely. the long-term things like the little gas stoves, portable ones with the little gas cartridges, and of course the spare gas cartridges, absolute must. If you cook outside, of course, spare gas for your barbecue, that sort of thing. But again, this is aimed at a very, very basic. So if you are only preparing yourself for, say, 3 days worth of an emergency, then again, you don't need to consider or don't need to think of buying one of those. Concentrate mainly, okay, on getting yourself food that is already ready to eat. And we're talking about there's so many things. And again, I cover this like on many videos, right? Anything that's already done in the tin, you can eat this cold. You don't even have to warm this up. Apart from the tins, of course, there are other things like dry biscuits, crackers, many things that you can have that don't require cooking. Again, I'm not saying guys not to have the portable hob, but I know from your comments, from your emails, a lot of you feel a little bit uneasy using them. You don't want to use this inside, and then potentially thinking, you know, you don't want to go outside doing that. The point is, as your bare basics, okay, concentrate spending your money on your tinned or ready to eat food. Another thing again is on the list is they're talking about the maps. And again, I have a paper map, and there are plenty of suggestions online from the news outlets to say, well, make sure you invest in a paper map. And again, unless you're really preparing for something really specific that you would have to then track somewhere, then that's fine. You have to ideally have a map. But at the same time, you have to then know how to read the map. Because let's be honest, we don't use maps anymore. We just go by the sat nav, where the machine or a phone tells you where to go, where to drive. So generally, as an average, people don't have a clue. And to be fair myself, I look at the map, it's like, okay, I can kind of read this, I can understand, but you will need a compass as well. But at the same time, halfway, right, if you're walking somewhere, trying to get somewhere, you might not even know the name of the road or the number of the road, in fact. So technically, it is pointless. But on the upside as well, don't forget all of the phones, or you can download or offline maps. So you don't physically need to have a paper map because you'll have this on your phone. Again, don't get me wrong, I said the paper maps are a good idea just in case for your area, but again, don't make this your priority. The next thing, again, the first aid kits. Again, first aid kit is absolutely must, but again, keep it simple, because a lot of things you can put in your first aid kit because somebody told you to put this in your first aid kit. Unless you actually know how to use it, those things are deemed useless. So stick to your basics. Again, we're talking about the bare basics preparedness, okay? Make sure you get yourself some plasters, you get some tablets, you get some saline solution, all those sort of the basic things that you prepare for a everyday emergency, not a battlefield. So all of those things, I said, they're floating about telling people what to do, and I can understand this is totally confuses people. So my advice to you, as if you are just starting preparedness and you are short on cash, you don't want to be, not short on cash, but if you don't want to be diving into really things that potentially you really don't need, because it's very easy as a prepper to get carried away and have loads of different things because you think they might come handy. They might one day, absolutely, but if you're just starting, okay, just get yourselves the very basics. So my point is to you, okay, we're going to start just few items here as your starting point. And again, very starting point, like the total beginner. If you don't have anything at all, get yourself some water. Ignore the water purification tablets for now. Make sure you just have some water. There is tons of things happening with the drought, contaminated water, so just get yourself a bottle of water. Don't worry about the microplastics in those bottled water, because this is your go-to imminent thing. You can just pop into the supermarket, pick up a few cases of the water, and you're done. Food, okay, of course, get yourself ready, cooked, ready to eat food. Avoid the MREs, they're total waste of money. You pay £10-15 for the pack. Yes, it's high of calories, but you can do so much better financially by just shopping clever and find yourself the tins or other dry foods that are ready to eat. Lighting, just as I said, right, invest in a solar lantern and a torch, either a rechargeable torch or a solar torch. You're sorted for the lighting. I'm not talking about the heating right now, okay, because, you know, blankets, fuller blankets. You have blankets. Everybody has blankets. You have duvets, you have blankets. If you're home, preparing for home, you have your blankets, you have your jumpers, you know what you have, so you needn't to worry about that. Power, okay, this is one of the main things, right? And again, yes, people say, okay, you get yourself, the power banks. Okay, power banks are great, and they are fairly affordable, but generally, do consider investing in a decent little unit. This is a solar generator, could be charged from your mains and could be charged via a solar panel. So if you are looking about this proper preparedness item, those things are irreplaceable. They come in many different shapes and sizes. I've done many reviews on many of them. I've showcased, also done a video to show you how you can choose one, the best suitable for you and for your needs. But it is a very, very good investment. And at the same time, just make sure you get yourself a little solar panel so you always have power. So, of course, then we're talking about the first aid kit. I already mentioned, absolute must. But make sure if you do buy things that you put in your first aid kit, you know exactly how to use them. Sanitation here, I just got some wet wipes anyway, but of course, we all know, you know what you use in shower gels, shampoos, that sort of thing, toilet paper, all the basic things, okay? That goes without saying. Not that you need to stockpile this, because chances are, if you're again preparing for, you know, your few days, you know, you have enough in your household in terms of that sort of thing, hopefully. But of course, we do encourage people to prepare more than 3 days, because 3 days is not really enough for a proper emergency. But again, this video is totally aiming at you. If you're just starting and you have a few pounds to spend, this will be your first thing. And another thing is a multi-tool of any kind, okay? It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I've done a review on one from the Parkside from Lidl. That was £4.99 and is very decent little tool. It's got a screwdriver, it had a knife, a few bits and bobs in there. Find a review if you have a look under my playlist for the reviews. Good little knife. It's got everything you want in there for a temporary thing. And another thing, I've just put this as my little giggle thing, is the whistle, because the whistle is on the list of the things to, you know, to be in your kit. And again, makes me giggle. I have one, don't get me wrong, as a little one. I think I got this from Temu for like I think it was my EDC. I'm not sure why it's out. But anyway, there's a whistle, you know, in case you get trapped in a ravel or whatever. But generally, again, in any emergency, I'm pretty sure you'll have your phone with you. If you don't have a phone with you, you have a whistle with you, then that's probably something wrong there. But nonetheless, right, the whistle, if you do get trapped under somewhere, you'll just yell, you'll scream, you use your phone, if you have the phone with you, to send a signal, make some loud noises. So it's one of those things. Again, not saying I don't have one. I have one as a prepper in my bag out kit. This is totally different matter. So there we are, guys. I just wanted to bring this video to point out certain things that I don't think you should be stockpiling, and the battery is one of those that did this for me. When I seen this, I was like, I have to put this video out to you. So anyway, I do hope you found this helpful. Again, last time saying this is just a very, very basic things, okay? If you do want to look into the further of the preparedness things you should have, again, I've done loads of videos on that. So there we are, guys. If you have found this helpful, don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if not a subscriber, and I shall see you soon. Bye-bye.